Hey, Martin County, welcome back. We've got several issues that we need to deal with, but we're going to deal with one issue in particular here in this segment, and that is the banning of the pet stores. We had an opportunity at the swearing-in ceremony here in Indiantown to speak with both Doug Smith, the current chair of the Board of County Commissioners in Marshall County, and with Ed Campy. Ed was a little bit more forthcoming and didn't just outright dismiss us and refuse to talk any longer. And we appreciate that, Ed. And I'm going to let Ed speak for himself here. Hang on.
This is Ed Campy. Ed gave the closing speech tonight, and he was just complimenting us on Talk About Martin. You like it?
I do.
You think it's
now that our traditional media is sort of fading, we need folks like you, Eric, to educate, because there's an information vacuum. And some people will throw anything into the vacuum, and some people will throw accurate information.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. We appreciate the endorsement. And yes, we do try to put out what is accurate information. May not always be popular information, but we do what is accurate. And he's right. Education is a key component here. So let's get educated on what's going on with the pet store ban. Stick with us as we go down the rabbit hole one more time.
Let's throw some more accurate information out there. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I know that we're at an event right now, but still, I'd like to ask you about your recent decision to shorten the time frame on closing the pet stores down, and even closing them when they didn't have any violations against them. Why is government taking a heavy hand in the free market and closing these stores down when there was no evidence that they had any wrongdoing going on at all?
Two things. One, both of those pet stores are not in unincorporated Martin County. They're in the city of Stuart. So although we passed some of that legislation, we didn't close any pet stores down. That would be the city of Stuart making that their own determination.
Well, let's get educated. Did the commission close the pet stores or didn't they? Well, yes and no. Oh, lordy, what do we mean? Well, here's the deal. If you are in unincorporated Marshall County, then you can no longer operate a pet store. Those stores are in Stuart, though. So what does that actually mean?
We don't have the ability to close down pet stores in
You
the
did.
city.
You voted that they couldn't no longer operate in the county.
Well, but they're in the city.
So these two stores will still be allowed to operate.
They have to deal, the city of Stuart looked at our ordinance and then decided their own situations if they wanted to mimic it exactly or change it.
Okay, fair enough. It's left up to the cities, but what does that mean? Well, Casey Ingram, our TAM contributor and host of the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU, reached out to the Stuart city manager and asked that very same question. Here's what he said. Remember, this applies not only to Stuart, but every one of the others. Yes, they would have to opt out, but what does that actually mean? Well, because this isn't a land or LDR or zoning ordinance, it's not as easy as the Stuart Commission just saying, or the Stuart Council just saying, we want to allow pet stores. Can't do it because it's tied into animal control regulation, and the animal control regulations have been adopted by the city of Stuart, which means that in order to go against those, the city of Stuart's going to have to come out of pocket for their own animal control enforcement, their own animal control policy, their own animal control everything. Imagine the dollars and the reinvention of the wheel and the conflicts that would cause. So it seems, yes, you did leave it up to Stuart, but you also left it up to the taxpayers in Stuart to have to fund the whole thing over when the system is supposed to be working really, really well. So did you ban them or not? I guess it's a matter of semantics, but I would say as easily as you left it up to them, you can still leave it up to them and grandfather the other two stores in like you've done in the past. Let's continue.
Stores are located in the city of Stuart.
So you're saying the city of Stuart has the ultimate authority as to whether they can stay in place or not?
After hearing some concerns from residents that we did not hear from when we were making those determinations, I went to our county staff, both legal and administrative, and asked them those questions.
Good.
And they said both of those stores are located in the city of Stuart. So we have passed an ordinance that would not allow additional pet stores in the regards of selling puppies, kittens, and rabbits, which most of our other municipalities around this area have done the same.
Okay, I get it. You did your due diligence. You asked staff, and staff told you one thing, and you took their word for it. Why not? You've got hundreds of things, as you say, issues that you deal with on a daily basis. I get it. You got to rely upon somebody, but who's running the place? Staff or the commission? Because as it turns out, you must have had a piece of information kept from you, and that's part of this educational process. They cannot easily do this without increasing their budget and creating a whole new layer of bureaucracy in Stewart. For what? And again, for educational purposes, there, good commissioner, there's something missing from that, and that is that all of the other counties around us that banned the pet stores grandfathered in the existing ones. So you didn't mirror what they did. Oh, well, St. Lucie didn't, and that's because they didn't have any pet stores. Let's continue.
The second thing that I would tell you, when you mentioned that there was no evidence of any kind of wrongdoing in those stores, that's not what we have heard leading into it.
Well, I guess we could play semantics all day, but you actually hold the key to making all of this go away. And these two stores, well, I think they deserve the same chance that every other business owner does here, given the fact that they've both just signed 5-year leases. This isn't right, Commissioner. All you have to do is bring this back to the agenda and grandfather them in. And what about the fact that the business like Wags for You has had no violations? There have been a couple of different complaints that were filed against the other existing store, but no formal violations exist against either of the stores. Now, we've gone and checked with animal control. We've looked through your own email system, and there's nothing official on the books. So, who told you this?
But that's hearsay. We've looked it up. There are no official
Well, I'm saying that
complaints.
people came to us and showed documentation of, there was one woman that was all over social media that said she had worked there and had all sorts of inside information.
So again, she could have been a disgruntled employee.
Correct.
All right, let's do some more education, boys and girls. Listen, in America, because of our Constitution, we are to be considered innocent until we are proven guilty. And in a hearing, hearsay information is not admissible. When you passed this, Commissioner, and to the rest of the commissioners, this was a quasi-judicial hearing, meaning these people had to have their constitutional rights upheld. They weren't upheld. You took information from social media, hearsay from other people. You need evidence. That is your standard that you have to live up to. You, sir, have to prove them guilty. They don't have to prove themselves innocent. That's just the way it works.
So I'll tell you that I asked our staff if those two pet stores were notified of the meeting.
They were not.
Well, our staff says yes.
Folks, we urge you to look at the video below. We know it's long, but take the time to look at it. Look at some of the other information below, because Ryan Gosel and the other pet store owner both unequivocally say we were never contacted. Besides, you've already told us in this interview that because they weren't in the city of Stewart, that staff wouldn't have reached out to them. Which is it? Come on, guys. This whole thing is a boondoggle. Let's just say it's a mess right now and not drag it out and get things going any further. Let's correct it, grandfather them in, bring it back to the commission, and avoid legal action, because I can tell you it's probably going to be coming with the constitutional overreach that took place here.
Both say they were not notified. They had no
Well,
idea.
they also had the opportunity a week later to come forward after they must have heard about it.
They've
And
sent a letter and emails
No,
to the
I'm saying
commission that we've seen already.
a week later, at our next meeting, they could have come forward and asked for a reconsideration and presented their cases.
Well, it seems if they could do it a week later, maybe they could do it a month later. They did reach out via emails, which we've documented. They've reached out via letters that were sent that we've documented and were sent to the commission. Look, guys, put it on the agenda. Let them come forward. Let the people that support them come forward too, like the 100+ people that have signed the petition saying grandfather them in.
Now, I have to trust that our staff said that they were notified. I'm just telling you.
If the
what
real
I
issue
know.
was to get rid of puppy mills and not pet stores, let me ask you this. Why were none of the backyard breeders involved in this? And why is it that farm and feed stores can still sell animals, the rabbits, out of their stores? I don't get it. Something smacks of just not being right. And since they're competitors, with all of the rescue facilities around here, and it was the rescue facilities that brought this forward. Commissioners, I don't think you did your homework. Your heart may have been in the right place. I get it, but no one is addressing the real root cause of the issue, and that is puppy mills. So before the heartstrings start to tug here, let's do some more education. The puppy mills come from the breeders, and both of these stores check documentation, have veterinarians. They take care of what they need to take care of to make their businesses legitimate. They are not here scamming people. They need to be grandfathered in, and this ordinance needs to be reviewed.
The backyard breeders is, look, I'm not sure about backyard breeders, about puppy mills and things like that. If those two individual locations, look, I was a small business owner. I work for a small business currently.
That's kind of my point. What would happen while you were in between your commission seats if they said for the health, safety, and welfare of the county, we're going to ban ice cream because it promotes diabetes, tooth decay, and obesity? Then you'd have to reinvent your business within 6 months, and all you could sell were ice cream cones and ice cream scoops. It's about as crazy because these guys are selling $2,000 and $3,000 puppies that they're getting from legitimately registered AKC breeders.
That's what we hear. But I've also heard folks just like you. I take you at your word.
Yeah, but we have to use the system instead of using hearsay, especially in your position.
Well, but I'm hearing you say it, so you're giving me hearsay.
No, I've looked up I have looked up the official records, and Wags has zero complaints and or any kind of violation against them. The other store that's closed down had 6 complaints from people that came in, but there were no violations that were cited against them. So both stores have had no formal sightings against them. That's why people are trying to figure out how we can close down a whole sector, especially in a free market environment. I mean, look, the strip clubs, when the county closed them down, I know you weren't there then, but they grandfathered the strip clubs in, for goodness sake, okay? And we still have one operating. Same thing with the dock workers and the fishermen. They said, no, you can't have any more. Your lease is gone, you're done. They came back, there was a negotiation, and now it's one in, one out. We also did it with shark fishing. You got pushed back on that, and now we say you can only do it at night after hours. You can't fish from a beach during normal swimming hours either if the lifeguard thinks it's in violation of health and safety. And these are dogs. These are people that are making a living. This guy just signed a 5-year lease, and he's on the hook for it now, and he's not going to be able to operate.
All right, guys, you're getting the picture here. It's muddy water, and there's a lot to contend with. Nobody wants puppy mills. Everybody wants to look out for the safety of the animals. Actually, we're given scriptural charge to look out for the animals. God gave them to us for our benefit and our use, and we're supposed to be watching over them. So let's do it the right way. But human rights come before animal rights, and these people have had their human rights absolutely stripped away from them. Regardless of the human rights, let's look at their constitutional rights, which really are divine human rights. So please bring this ordinance back. You guys have the power to do what's right. Don't be dismissive like some and just
Commissioner Smith. Hey, Doug, I got a quick question for you. To see you.
That's good looking stuff.
Hey, listen, I'm recording this, and I'm with talkaboutmartin.com as well as their editor, and I'm curious if you could tell me why you guys didn't grandfather in the 2 existing pet stores when you banned them.
I don't know that ever really came up as a question, honestly.
Well, it did. They could have been grandfathered in, and Commissioner Campy took them back to 6 months instead of 12 months, and we've done our research, and neither of them, especially Wags, has had any violations against them.
For another day, I think that's a much longer conversation.
Would you be interested, would you reconsider allowing them to be grandfathered in like Martin County's done with every other segment of the industry that they've banned?
I don't know that we've banned other segments of the industry.
Oh, you have. Martin County has traditionally, they banned strip clubs. They allowed the 2 clubs to stay. You banned the commercial fishermen, and they were told that there could be no more leases, and then through legal pressure, they were able to get other leases to come in. Lucky timing. Does that mean no? That means no. Okay, thank you.
At the same time, Ms. Woods just said it, and maybe there's an additional way to say it. It's a health, safety, welfare issue relative to the operation of our community and our county. And that probably stands on its own in a very strong way. So We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all very, very much.
Okay, guys, I hope you're starting to get the picture here. We've consolidated a lot of information into a very short period of time, and there's a lot more information for you to look at down below if you are concerned. There's also a link to a petition that our own Casey Ingram and I put together so that we can show the county commission that we really want this to come back for reconsideration. You know, over and above that, it gets into a lot of other constitutional questions, and the big question is, where is the Republican Party in all of this, sitting quiet while the people that they want you to elect run all over your constitutional rights? Come on, guys, let's get our act together. Martin County, if you don't stand up now, when are you going to stand up, and how much of your freedom are you going to give away? So come on, Commission, do the right thing. We're counting on you. Let's get back on track here and get these guys back in business so that they can continue to honor the obligations that they've made. They can pursue their life, liberty, and happiness in a constitutional way without having to have it mandated and stripped away from them by a bunch of elected officials. Come on, guys. This isn't right. Thank you, Martin County, for being there. We look forward to following up on this with you. And, you know, keep your eyes open because there's going to be more to come. I can guarantee you that. As this thing stretches out, we hope that it goes away quickly. You never know. Stand by. Nomo out.